Who really decides your vote? Imagine a world where only the elite few decide your future. This was the reality in early U.S. history. As the nation was founded, the right to vote was not a universal privilege. It was reserved for a select group, leaving many voices unheard and unrepresented in the democratic process. In 1789, the right to vote was a privilege granted only to white, land-owning men. This restriction meant that only about 6% of the population could participate in the first U.S. presidential election. Such a limited voter base concentrated power in the hands of a small, wealthy elite, shaping the nation's policies and direction. The 1820s and 1830s marked a significant shift in voter inclusion. During this period, property requirements for voting began to drop, allowing more white men to participate in elections. Andrew Jackson's presidency symbolized this broader voter inclusion. The 15th Amendment, ratified in 1870, aimed to prevent voter discrimination based on race, though resistance persisted. Women fought tirelessly for the right to vote, culminating in the 19th Amendment's ratification in 1920. This monumental change granted women the right to vote, significantly broadening the democratic process. Additionally, the 17th Amendment allowed for the direct election of senators, further empowering the electorate and enhancing democratic representation. The civil rights movement of the 1960s brought a renewed focus on racial equality in voting. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 aimed to eliminate racial discrimination in voting, resulting in increased voter registration and participation among Black Americans. Despite this progress, some states continue to find ways to suppress minority votes, highlighting ongoing challenges. The 1820s and 1830s marked the beginning of a shift in voting rights as property requirements began to drop. This period saw a gradual expansion of suffrage beyond just the elite landowners. The changes allowed more white men, particularly those without property, to participate in the electoral process. Andrew Jackson's presidency is often associated with broader voter inclusion. His appeal to the common man resonated with many Americans who previously had been excluded from voting. Jackson's policies and populist approach contributed significantly to the expansion of suffrage among white men, democratizing the political landscape. The 15th Amendment, ratified in 1870, was a landmark in voting rights, aiming to prevent voter discrimination based on race. It was a monumental step towards inclusivity, signaling a federal commitment to ensuring that Black men could exercise their right to vote. However, the fight for true equality was far from over. Despite the promise of the 15th Amendment, many states implemented measures to disenfranchise Black voters. Poll taxes, literacy tests, and other discriminatory practices emerged, effectively nullifying the amendment's intent. These tactics highlighted the ongoing resistance to racial equality in voting, underscoring the need for continued advocacy and reform. Displaying the text of the 15th Amendment serves as a powerful reminder of its significance and the challenges that followed. It symbolizes both the progress made and the obstacles that remain. This visual aid can help contextualize the ongoing struggle for voting rights and the importance of legal protections against discrimination. Women persevered for decades, advocating tirelessly for their right to vote. Their struggle included marches, protests, and lobbying, often met with fierce opposition. These efforts laid the groundwork for a monumental shift in American democracy, highlighting the determination and resilience of women fighting for equal political rights. The 19th Amendment's ratification in 1920 was a historic milestone. It enfranchised millions of women, significantly altering the electorate. This crucial change not only empowered women, but also enriched the democratic process, ensuring that a more diverse array of voices could influence the nation's direction. The 17th Amendment, ratified in 1913, introduced direct elections for U.S. senators. Prior to this, state legislatures chose senators, often leading to corruption and lack of accountability. This amendment shifted power to the people, enhancing democratic representation and ensuring that senators were more directly answerable to their constituents. The combined impact of the 17th and 19th Amendments was profound. They marked significant strides toward a more inclusive democracy, broadening participation and making the political system more representative of the nation's diverse population. These changes underscored a growing commitment to ensuring that every voice could be heard. Historic photos from the women's suffrage movement capture the energy and determination of activists. Images of marches, rallies, and suffragists demanding their rights provide a poignant reminder of the struggle for equality. These visuals connect us to the past, illustrating the relentless pursuit of justice and the enduring fight for democratic inclusion. The civil rights movement of the 1960s was a pivotal era for racial equality, advocating for the end of segregation and discrimination. Activists and leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. galvanized public support, leading to significant legislative changes. The movement's momentum underscored the urgent need for comprehensive voting rights reform. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 marked a watershed moment in American history, aimed at eradicating racial discrimination in voting. It banned literacy tests and other discriminatory practices, empowering federal oversight of voter registration. This landmark legislation sought to ensure that all citizens, regardless of race, could exercise their right to vote. The impact of the Voting Rights Act was immediate and profound. Voter registration among Black Americans surged, enabling greater political representation and participation. The act dismantled many barriers that had long prevented minorities from accessing the ballot box, fostering a more inclusive democratic process across the United States. Despite the progress made by the Voting Rights Act, resistance persisted. Some states employed tactics such as gerrymandering and voter ID laws to suppress minority votes. These measures highlighted the ongoing struggle for truly equitable voting rights, emphasizing that legislative victories alone were insufficient without vigilant enforcement and advocacy. Visual images from the civil rights movement and the signing of the Voting Rights Act capture the era's spirit of determination and hope. These powerful snapshots serve as reminders of the sacrifices made by countless individuals to secure voting rights for all. They continue to inspire contemporary efforts toward achieving full electoral equality. Despite the progress made by the Voting Rights Act, some states continued to find ways to suppress minority votes. Tactics included gerrymandering, voter ID laws, and purging voter rolls, which disproportionately affected Black and minority communities, undermining the significant strides toward equality that had been achieved. The Motor Voter Act of 1993 aimed to make voter registration more accessible by allowing citizens to register at DMV offices. While the law increased voter registration significantly, it also faced criticism for potentially increasing the risk of voter fraud, sparking a heated debate about the balance between accessibility and security. Early voting was introduced to make the voting process more convenient. By allowing voters to cast their ballots prior to Election Day, it aimed to reduce long lines and boost participation. However, this method also raised concerns about voter fraud and the security of early cast ballots. Mail-in voting provided an alternative to in-person voting, enabling citizens to vote without physically going to the polls. This method became particularly prominent during the COVID-19 pandemic, but stirred debate over the potential for increased fraud and the logistical challenges of counting mail-in ballots accurately and timely. The advent of technology introduced electronic voting machines, which promised efficiency but also brought cybersecurity issues to the forefront. Ensuring the integrity of electronic votes became a critical concern, as hacking and technical malfunctions pose significant risks to the accuracy and reliability of election results. The introduction of tech in voting has brought both convenience and concern. Electronic voting machines streamline the process and speed up results. However, cybersecurity issues have raised alarms about potential hacking and manipulation. Ensuring the integrity of digital votes remains a top priority for election officials and cybersecurity experts alike. Voter ID laws, intended to prevent fraud, have become a contentious issue. Proponents argue they safeguard the electoral process. Critics, however, claim these laws disenfranchise marginalized groups, including minorities and the elderly. The debate continues as states implement varying ID requirements, balancing security with accessibility. The Motor Voter Act of 1993 aimed to boost voter registration by allowing citizens to register at the DMV. This legislation made registration more accessible, but faced criticism for potential fraud risks. Despite the controversy, it significantly increased the number of registered voters and remains a crucial aspect of voter accessibility. Early voting has emerged as a solution to increase voter turnout. By providing multiple days and locations to cast ballots, it aims to accommodate diverse schedules and reduce election day congestion. While widely praised for convenience, some argue it increases election administration costs and complicates logistical planning. Mail-in voting has gained popularity, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. It offers a safer, more flexible alternative to in-person voting. However, it has sparked debates on security and reliability, with concerns over lost or delayed ballots. Ensuring the integrity of mail-in votes is essential for maintaining public trust. Today's debates on voting access and regulations highlight the ongoing struggle to ensure a truly inclusive democratic process. From voter ID laws to the security of electronic voting systems, these issues remain central to how our society values and protects the right to vote for every eligible citizen. Reflecting on the history of voting rights, it's clear that progress has always required persistence and resilience. Each milestone, from the abolition of property requirements to the passage of the Voting Rights Act, shows the tireless efforts of activists committed to expanding democracy. Their legacy reminds us of the importance of continued vigilance. The relevance of these historical struggles is undeniable in today's context. As we face new challenges in voting accessibility and security, it's crucial to remember the hard-fought gains of the past. Understanding this history can inform and inspire our efforts to protect and advance voting rights in the present and future. Your vote carries the power to shape policies and elect leaders who reflect your values and priorities. By participating in elections, you contribute to the direction of your community, state, and country. Every vote counts, and your involvement can make a significant difference in creating a more equitable society. Thank you for engaging with this exploration of voting rights history. By staying informed and active, you honor the legacy of those who fought for inclusion. Remember to register and vote in upcoming elections. Your voice matters, and together we can continue to build a more inclusive democracy. Thank you for watching and engaging with our presentation on the evolution of voting rights in the United States. We hope it has inspired you to appreciate the importance of your vote and the power it holds. Your participation in the democratic process is crucial for a representative and fair society. If you enjoyed this content and want to stay informed about democracy and civic engagement, make sure to hit the subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll receive notifications about our latest videos and updates, ensuring you never miss out on important information that can help you make a difference. Connect with us on social media for more insights and updates. Follow us on our various platforms where we share regular content about voting rights, historical milestones, and current political issues. Your engagement helps us create a more informed and active community. Help us spread awareness by sharing this video with your friends and family. The more people understand the significance of voting rights, the stronger our democracy becomes. Share the knowledge and encourage others to get involved in the ongoing conversation about voting and civic responsibility. We value your thoughts and would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below with your perspectives on voting rights and any experiences you wish to share. Your input is valuable to us and helps foster a vibrant and interactive community. Thank you for your participation.